So it's Carlos here with Casas Roofing. What I have here in my hands is the old tile that we removed from this house. As you can see here, this is about 20 years old. These homes were built like in the early 2000s. So the most common issue obviously is going to be algae. Some areas where it has more shade is going to accumulate more algae, but this is actually one of the things that insurance companies in California have been dropping homeowners for, right? Dropping their insurance policies for something as small as algae. So a lot of times this can be prevented obviously with changing out your roof, right, within the 20-25 year span. Another option could be a roof wash, right? Depending on the tile, the lifespan of the roof, it could be a candidate for a roof wash. There's a couple of different methods we use. We use a power washing, which can give you instant results, and then we also do a soft wash. So that's something that we can do here for you at Casas Roofing. We don't only just do re-roofs, we like to help the customer whichever way we can. So in this scenario, we're dealing with a life tile, which this is going to be a discontinued tile. So why that's crucial is, as you can see here, on one of these new tiles, the groove is different. There's going to be a single groove. It's a little bit taller. This has a double groove. So if I were to try to sit this on this one, right? You see how there's a gap right here? That's just as bad as if this tile were cracked, right? Because water is going to make its way in here. So you want to make sure you're using the same tiles, that they're compatible, because as you can see this one here, it's going to sit perfectly, almost like a Lego. This is what you want, the compatible tile. So that's just a little bit about tile. This is a Santa Cruz blend. So as you can see, it's got a little bit of gray mixed in, a little bit of darker charcoal gray, lighter gray, and then your traditional terracotta. So a cool thing about this tile is, like, in this area, there's a HOA, right? So they're gonna want something similar, even though this tile, I mean, realistically, the color is gone anyway. But this is how we're able to get the HOA to sign off, and then also implement a little bit more of a modern color, because this is going to be like your more old school, right, terracotta color, which you want a little bit of in it because the HOA is going to be more likely to approve it. So one of the benefits with working with us is that we're able to haul our own tile, right? A lot of times, depending on the availability, they're going to be 3 weeks to a month out. So we can send our own trucks, right, to transport the tile. The plant for Eagle Tile is in Rialto. So we're able to expedite the process of getting the materials. That way the homeowner doesn't have to wait a month. There's no delays in the job. What we do is we like to let the customer pick their custom color, right? It's just a custom blend. A lot of companies are just gonna have your standard pink terracotta tile, right? So we always offer a brochure with like over 40 different blends and colors. So as you can see here, this is the Santa Cruz blend. This is the color code, right? So we need to make sure all the palettes are the same colors. And then if in this scenario, since we're going on with new tile, what we do is the old tile, we recycle it. That way, as an example, if we were to do one of the neighbors' homes, since it's a tile that you can't get no more, we're able to use it for repairs, right? As you can see here, this is our dump truck. So not only do we haul new tile from the plant, from the Eagle plant from Rialto, but we also recycle, right? So we do the best we can to minimize our carbon footprint, and at the end of the day, recycle what we can. I mean, obviously we don't want to use materials that are used up, that are no longer going to perform as they should. But roof tiles, they can be reused up to 2 times depending on the condition. So it's a good way for us to prevent, right, less debris, less trash, ultimately less waste that we got to send to the landfill. So that's one of the ways we're able to recycle, is by reusing the tile. All of our metals, right, all the flashings, all that stuff, that's gonna be 100% new, because we don't want to reuse any of the waterproofing components, right? Anytime we're going to go down with paper, obviously it's brand new paper. Tile is just, one of those components in roofing that it's common for it to get reused, and then at the same time we can save the homeowner some money, right? Because we're going to, for the most part, unless they just request one quote, we're going to give them a quote to go with new tile, or we can stack their existing tile, change the paper, and then go back on, right? Usually we're going to have about like 10 to 12% waste factor is what we call it. Basically what that is when we stack all the tile, like roughly 10% of the tile breaks, right? Since it has a mortar, it's got cement on it. When they're moving the tile around, it's going to break. So we never go on, obviously, with a broken tile. We replace that tile. That's where, with what we do with the recycling part, that's why that's so important and that's so crucial, because as I spoke about it earlier in the video, the side lap, right, where the tiles meet up and sit on each other, it's very important that it is a compatible tile. It's very important that it's the same manufacturer, the same dimensions, or else they're gonna have leaks prematurely. So over here, what the guys are doing is, like I mentioned, this is a Santa Cruz blend, right, which is the field tile. So on the edges of the roof and on the ridges, it takes a different tile, right? So we make sure that we match the same color code, right, which is the Santa Cruz blend. We make sure that the ridge and the rake is going to match, the entire roof system. Obviously, if we were repurposing it, we would use the existing ridge and rake tile. But in this scenario, we're getting ready to load this here soon. This is the ridge tile. So what we have here is a reach lift, right? It's also known as a pettibone or a telescoping forklift. So the purpose of this tool is obviously efficiency, right? We want to keep our job flowing as smooth as possible. All of our operators are certified to drive the machine, right? Because obviously safety, you see I got my hard hat on here, in case any debris fall, right? Or we have an overhead risk anytime we're lifting up tiles, right? That's where the PPE and the hard hat comes into play. So another crucial benefit to this machine is the safety, right? Because as you can see, the pallets of tile as an example, that pallet there weighs pretty much a ton, like 2,000 pounds, right? So if we were to hand load all this tile, not only are we risking the guys, right? And it's not safe, number one, but I mean, it would take way longer, right? Would we load this in 5 minutes, would take the guys half a day. So that's one of the benefits of having the proper operators, having the proper machinery on the job sites, right? That way we don't have to wait. Since we're able to do this all in-house, we don't have to wait for anybody or go on their schedule, right? So that means no delays on the job. Keep everything running efficiently. That way we don't expose your roof, right, to the elements. In this scenario, the homeowner had, I believe, 14 solar panels. So that makes it even more important, right, that we keep the job going to minimize the amount of time that the homeowner has to go without solar, right? Because obviously when their solar is down, they're not producing, right? So if we can keep that to within like 1 week, that's ideal for the customer. So as you can see here on the side of the house, the first step in a job like this is going to be bringing down the solar panels. So like on this job, day one, what we did was, number one, we checked the solar system, right? This is a Solar City system. So we come in, we make sure everything is operating as it should before we bring it down, right? Just to make sure that, there's no issues before we get here. If there is anything wrong, we can do the best we can with the homeowner to fix the problem for them. So here are the actual panels that we bring down, right, in order to do the roofing, because obviously the mounting of the solar is going to be one of the most, meticulous areas that's most prone to a leak. So if we don't install these properly, it's highly likely that the roof will leak. The way we install it is we go on with a double flashing. So we have a flashing that goes underneath the tile, and then we have another one that goes on top, right? So it's a proven system. It's made in the USA, and I mean it's gonna outlast your roof for sure, right? So this is to be another area, right, where when I got my helmet on, make sure that a tile don't land on my head, and if it does, then I'm safe. As you can see, we're out here at a house in Chula Vista. What we're gonna do for this homeowner is we're gonna install these Class A fire rated vents, which is a low profile vent that can sit underneath their solar panels, right? That's one of the benefits of these. Not only that, but as you can see here, the filter it has is going to prevent any embers in the case of a fire, because it's Class A fire rated, right? That's a benefit of using these vents. It's going to keep your attic cooler. It's going to make sure you have proper airflow, and make sure you get the full lifespan out of your roof. We also, after these are installed, we paint them along with like all of our pipe flashings. Those are all going to be painted to match the roof. So yeah, these are the vents we're using. As I mentioned, we are doing a solar remount. So this customer had a solar system in place that we're going to be putting back on. That's where you see all these mounts here, is for that specific reason, right? These are gonna be where the solar panels get mounted back into place. So right here, this is the second flashing underneath this tile, underneath all of this tile, right on top of the paper. We put the first flashing, and this is gonna be the second flashing. So that is basically a double flashing on every single mount. That's how we ensure that it's going to outlast the roof and that they're never going to have leaks.